YouTube. You know what time it is, man. You know what time it is. It's time for a new banger video, man. And I'm back with another video with your boy TZ. And yeah, I got my boy right in the chair. He said he needs a fresh, cut for his graduation, like a new fresh cut for his graduation. And yeah, I was showing you guys how I would do a step-by-step clean bald fade, step-by-step procedure of doing a low bald fade. Let's go. So yeah, the first thing you want to do is prep the hair for before you cut the hair. Before you start cutting the hair down to any size or any length or anything, you want to comb the hair and make sure the hair is neat. You want to make sure you have a neat canvas before you start your work, because without a neat canvas you can't have a good result at the end of the day. So now I'm using my number one guard with the level fully closed. I'm going with the grain this time around, making sure it is neat as possible. And as I'm doing so, I'm using my comb to comb the hair back in place to make sure it is neat as possible. It is important that you follow the pattern of the hair. You don't just set in the guard with your clipper and move at any pattern. You will cause a lot of patches. So that's why I'm trying my best as possible to follow the pattern. I've combed the hair and I've seen the pattern at which the hair grows, and I'm doing so. I'm following the pattern of the hair, making sure it's nice and neat. It's something you have to take your time while doing and make sure it is neat as possible. Now I'm creating my first guideline, which is the bald line. I'm using my clipper with the level fully closed. I'm creating the bald line, and as you can see, I'm showing you how I'm doing it in a normal speed mode. I'm not making it fast or whatever. I'm just making it the normal speed. So as you can see, I'm showing you how I'm carefully clearing it. I'm not how do I put it? I don't apply too much pressure whenever I'm trying to create my outline. I'm trying to make sure I have a steady and light hand as possible. As you can see, I made a harsh line with this, but I later came in with my clipper to soften up the bald line, which I didn't show you. My bad, but I'm just letting you know that you have to if you're creating an harsh line, you have to make sure you soften it up. Now what I'll be doing right here is creating my second guideline. Now what I'll be doing is, with my level fully opened, I'm creating my second guideline about an inch, making sure it is even around the hair. Now this is a very important step where you're creating your second guideline. You want to make sure that the second guideline is even around the head. You don't want to make one part even and the other part uneven. It's not going to make sense, because when you're blending out, the end result is not going to look clean as you want it to look. So you want to take your time and create that second guideline. Make sure it is even as possible. Now the next thing we want to do is take out that line that we created. And how do we do so? With my level fully closed, as you can see, I am carefully attacking that line and blending it, making sure it is neat as possible. But as you can see, if you're observant, you will see that I'm using the corner of my blade. I'm showing you the normal speed to which I am working at, not making it fast. And I do this in three ways. With my level fully closed, I'm using my corner work to blend out that line that I created. Then I will move it halfway, and which I will show you right now. As you can see, this is it. I'm moving it halfway, and then I would stretch the skin a little bit, and then with using my corner of my blade, I don't like to use the full blade because I know I'll make you might make mistakes, or there are some parts that you just clearly want to spend a lot of time detailing. So I'm using now I reduce the level halfway. I'm fully opened, and I'm going in again, stretching the skin, making sure it's nice and neat. This kind of consistency will make your bald fade come out blurry and clean. Now the next thing we want to do is create a third guideline, and I'm using my number one guide with the level fully opened. I'm creating that third guideline close to the powder ridge, but not very close to the powder ridge, about close to an inch. Making sure it is neat as possible, and as you can see, I'm tilting my clipper against the growth pattern of the hair at the side to make sure that that third guideline is even as possible. You want to make sure you have an even guideline, so that when you take the next step, you make sure it is clean as possible. There is this clean transition, and as you can see, I'm combing back. You always want to comb back or brush back to the original pattern of the hair after every stroke with your clipper. This is to make sure that you are setting everything right back in place and making sure it is neat, because if it's not neat, you won't be able to have a good result on the hair. Now the next step I'm going to be doing is softening up the third guideline that we created with the level fully open with the number one guard. Now how would I be doing this? I'll be doing this with my number one guard with the level fully closed. I'm carefully softening up. Now mind you, I'm still using my corner work just for safety purpose. I love using corner work a lot, and it takes my time, but it's more preferable to me. And I don't know about you, but I feel like using corner work is the best method for me. And as you can see, what I'm doing is softening up that third guideline that I created, making sure it is let me just say I'm preparing it for when I'll use my zero guard, so that I can use my zero guard to actually break that line and make sure it's neat as possible. Right now I'm using my zero guard to flick out that and blend out that third guideline that we've created. I'm just coming at it being below the line, flicking to the line, making sure there is this neat transition from the third guideline to the second guideline, and make sure it is neat as possible. So yeah, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's been watching and be supporting your boy. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, come on man, please like, comment and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1k subscribers. And yeah man, I want you guys to comment anything you think about the haircut, anything you think about the haircut, just let me know man. Just pour out the good comment stuff and everything man. Let's go. Now what we're gonna do here is what I call the fading down process. Now originally I took it down to the number one guard with the level fully closed. I'm doing the same thing, still going over the hair to make sure it's even as possible, and carefully going around that parietal ridge to make sure it's neat as possible. Now what I'm going to do here is, with my number one guard with the level fully open, I'll carefully debunk, and carefully debunking, what I'm going to do is flicking out in a flick up motion. I'm going to make sure I flick out the area, the thick hair at the powder ridge, to make sure there is this clean transition from the hair down to the blending that we've been doing since, and making sure it's neat as possible. Now down to the most important aspect of fading is the detailing process. Trust me, I spend a lot more time on detailing than I do while doing the normal blending process. This is what brings the blends together. This is what makes the blend super blurry. This is what makes the blend a lot more better than whatever you see outside. What makes your blend quite different and way better than every other person that you meet, or what makes your blend stand out, what makes your fade stand out, is the amount of time you spend on detailing, the amount of time you spend making sure the blend is super blurry, making sure you check for every mistakes, every part that you've not gotten to blend well, making sure you spend a lot of time checking for everything that you can make sure it's better as possible. Now what we're gonna do next is the lineup, and I'm gonna do this kind of techniques of lining up the hair in this video. The first thing I'm gonna show you is how I start from the center to the side. I take my time lining up the hair from the center to the side. Then I create my vertical bar and I incline it at an angle of 90 degrees, making sure it is neat as possible. And then I continue lining up. As you can see, the hair didn't want to conform to the lineup, so I still had to go over it about 2 to 3 times, making sure the lineup came out clean as possible. So what I'll be doing here is creating my vertical bar first, then tracing it from the center to the vertical bar, making sure it is inclined well and as neat as possible. I'm not doing too much, just going over and over to make sure the hairline comes out crispy as possible. So I'll be applying a little bit of hair fiber just to this is just to add icing to the cake and make sure the hairline comes out more crispy. This is just to make sure the hairline comes out more crispy. That's it. So I'm coming back with my trimmer and I'm retracing the hairline. This is to remove the excess fiber off the skin and to make sure it is the hairline is way crispy as possible. So we've come to the end of the video. As you can see, this is my guy before and this is the after, man. For real, you can see the hairline coming crispy, the bald fade is clean as possible, man. Yeah, I want to know what you guys think about the haircut. I want you guys to comment down below and please let me know what you think about the haircut. Let me know what I can do to make sure the hairline or the fade comes out better than this, and just please drop down the good comments on the video, on the haircut. Yeah, I remain your boy TZ. Please, if you're new to the channel, please like, comment and subscribe for real, man. It's your boy TZ. Peace and love.